Alright, this is gonna be my first tutorial teaching you guys how to make Arma skins. Um, I'm gonna be acting like you guys don't know anything about Photoshop, just so I can get like a wider audience. So by the time this gets out, Mubby should have the templates for each vehicle up on Discord. So the first thing you want to do is have Photoshop downloaded, or maybe use GIMP. I'm not sure how GIMP would be, but just use Photoshop for now. Anyways, you'd go to your template, you would pick out whichever vehicle that you need or that you want. If there's a vehicle that's not on there that you want to add a skin for, I'll teach you towards the end of the video how to make your own custom template. But I made all these templates just to make it easier for people to slap on the texture and do whatever they want and get most of the work out of the way. So I'd say we start on a hunter. So hunters are gonna have two separate textures. So basically the hunter has that back like fabric kind of, and then some other stuff, and then hunter 0 is basically the main body of it. So you'll see when we open this up right here. If it'll load any faster. So yeah, I have for the template I basically have the base mesh, trim mesh, the texture, which just click on this eye icon, then you can see with the texture here gone. I also have the filters. I decided to get some extra filters in there, transform the ambient shadows and normal maps. But yeah, this is the main body of the hunter. So what you really want to do is just the easiest way of doing things is slapping on a texture on there and then coming up with an idea of how to make the skin. So I'd say after this step, we go ahead and find a texture. You want to have it to be seamless. So with it being seamless, you don't have any harsh edges or anything like that, and it makes the skin look better. So I guess we'll go for, you can do this one. Honestly, I'm not trying to go. Actually, that one has like a harsh edge, so rather not. This one works. So I'm not trying to actually make a skin like, or trying to, but it's just to show you guys how the process works. So before you add in your texture, you want to delete the texture here, pressing delete, and that's gone. So you want to click on trim mesh. So when you import the texture, it goes on top of trim mesh. So just drag and drop that over. That should be in. So now the thing you want to do is resize it and then move it over to the top left corner. It also depends how big the texture is, because the bigger it is, the bigger it's going to be on the vehicle. So hunter is not that big a vehicle, so I'll probably go around that size. And to make things easier, go up to filters and click on that eye icon. So now you can actually grab it without having to grab the actual ambient shadows. So I'm gonna go ahead and disable that. And then what you're gonna want to do is Control C, Control V, and you're gonna move that over right next to the original piece. Now sometimes, I don't know if other people have this problem, but I do have like this weird little bar coming up, so I'll just hold down Control, move it over just a tiny bit, just so I can get rid of that. And then you're gonna do that again until cover up the first row. I'm just gonna fix that again. That should be fine. Yeah, I think it's just a visual bug. Alright, so now what you're gonna do next is click on the bottom texture, top texture, well, holding shift. You get all those. Then you're gonna merge layers. Right click, merge layers. Then you're gonna Control C, Control V, then line that up. Yeah. Then do it again and again until you basically cover up what you want to have on there. Now you're gonna go ahead and merge these again, and now you have your texture for the entire thing. So to basically cover up things that you don't want to be covered, or essentially not covering up the things you don't want to cover up. So I already went through the liberty of trimming out all the textures. So all you have to do is basically right click, create clipping mask, and it'll go over everything that doesn't need to be covered or needs to be covered. So after that, you basically have your first skin. Honestly, before you export it out or anything like that, you want to make sure you apply filters so it creates shadows and dirt and stuff like that, so it doesn't look too clean. Then I say open up the second file before you export it out, which I have right here. So this is gonna be the back part. So all these extra other stuff is basically the wheels, the treads, like the engine parts, exhaust, all that. So those aren't gonna be covered up. It's only gonna be the tarp on the back. So you don't really want to put a texture on it, you know, give it a little bit of contrast. So up to the top right over here where this little color bar is, you're gonna pick a color that you want. So I'm gonna go with a kind of like a little bit darker blue, or I can actually just go gray. So you go with gray. You're gonna click on the texture here. You're gonna grab on this button right here, the rectangular marquee tool, and you're gonna cover up the entire thing. Drag and cover up the entire thing. Then you're gonna right click, fill, foreground color. Okay, so now it's gonna replace it, and you're basically good to go on that. So now you're gonna want to export everything as a JPEG. So you're gonna go to export, export as, and then export again, desktop. To make things simpler, like if you're gonna be making a lot of skins, I suggest naming your skins. Name them the theme or whatever type of skin you're going for, the vehicle, and then 0 or 1 because it's gonna play an important role later. So I'm gonna go with flower hunter 0, and that's gonna export out. Then you're gonna go to the first one or the second one actually. Do the same exact thing. So now it's gonna be flower hunter 1. Alright, so now you have these two files, which are your skins. And then the next step is gonna be to load up Arma with whatever vehicle. Like if your vehicle is in a mod pack, you're gonna need to load up that mod pack. But I'm just gonna skip to me loading up Arma. Alright, now that I got Arma opened, first thing you want to do is go to editor. You're gonna pick out whatever map that you want to put your vehicle in. If you want like a realistic lighting and stuff like that, for whenever it's in game, use the map that you want. For us it's Chinaris, but I usually like to do it in virtual reality. Alright, so now that once you're in, first thing you're gonna do is save as. I'm gonna go to multiplayer missions or missions, but I usually do multiplayer missions. Name your file skins, I guess, whatever you want. Save as. Now you're gonna go ahead and search up for the vehicle that you're making, which for us was a hunter. Drag and drop that in, and then you're gonna want to double click on it. Change it to any name. You can do hunter, you can do H1, anything like that. We'll go ahead and put hunter. Then honestly you can put in the character if you want and try to run around and see how it looks, but I'll just do it in camera mode. So now that the hunter is set and saved and named, we're gonna alt tab. We're gonna go to File Explorer. Go to documents, wherever your profile is, or Arma 3 other profiles, and then you're gonna pick your character name. So mine was Nikita Slovic, multiplayer mission, and then you're gonna see, actually I think it was in a different name. Yep, I was in Tree Sugar. Alright, so you're gonna go to skins.vr or whatever map you had, and then you're gonna see mission SQM. So you're just gonna leave that open, drag and drop your hunter skins straight into that folder. And once you got that done, you're gonna go back into Arma and then play scenario. So now that we drag that into the mission file, we basically have access to it. And of course, it loaded it with people in it. So once you're in, press escape. Now you're gonna have this little dialogue right here. You're gonna type in whatever vehicle name that you set for. So mine was Hunter. Then set capital O object, capital T texture. Then brackets 0. This is where the 0 and 1 comes into place. So you can set each individual parts of the vehicle. And then comma, quotes, the name of your file. So flower hunter 0. And then you're gonna do .jpg. Quotes, close the bracket, and then whatever the hell that thing's called, I don't even know. So once you do that, you press enter, changes your skin in game. So as you can see, I only changed one of the parts of the hunter, but hopefully my template is good enough for you guys, because it all depends on where I cut things and stuff like that. So if there's like a thing that you don't want to be covered in your skin, you can go into the file and try to figure out which area that is. But since I was doing a lot of vehicles all at once, then I couldn't really do a lot of specific things. So now we get the first part. I'm gonna go in, change that 0 to 1 because the hunter has 2 parts, and then change that file name to 1 and press enter. Now we get the different color for the back end. So congratulations, you just made your first skin. But I'm gonna go a little bit more detail onto tweaking things up and stuff like that. So for some vehicles, especially the SUV, they come in a lot brighter than you would make them in the Photoshop file. So if I want to make this a little bit darker, you would go back into the file, and then you're gonna click. Here, I'm just gonna close this. You're gonna click on the seamless, or the texture you had. You're gonna go to this little icon right here, go up to brightness and contrast, and then drop it in. But this is going to be applying it to everything, so you don't really want to do that. So now you're going to right click, create clipping mask. So now that brightness and contrast is going directly towards the texture and nothing else. So with that, you can change it in this little area right here and change how dark or how bright you want it. I highly recommend not going too bright, because it basically turns white, or like you become neon basically. So bring that down a little bit. And then while I'm here, I'm just gonna teach you guys how to add any like images or anything like that on a specific part of the vehicle. So the easiest way of doing it is to remove the texture with this little eye icon right here, just so you can see what things are. And then you got to use your judgment on where things are. So this is gonna be the door frame right here, or the side panel. You have your hood right here, your 2 doors, your fender, and then yeah, I don't know what the rest are, but you're gonna have to look for whatever you want. So let's say I wanted to add a text on the hood. Go ahead and bring up the text tool. If I can find it. Yep. Type on here, put tree sugar, change the color of that, Control A, change color to, it's a blue, so I'm gonna do, honestly, let's just do black. Tree sugar, I'm gonna change the font to, change it to that, screw it. Control T to transform it, drag it over, resize it, enter. So now that's in, and you want to make sure it's below the filters, because the filters is going to add all the layers of detail that you really want, and you want to put it on top of all the stuff you add to the skin. So now that's in. Bring back the texture. Now you have everything on here, and the way that Photoshop works is anything you see on the thing right here is what it's going to render. So if this is missing but you still have it in the layers right here, it's not gonna load it up. It's just gonna render what it's on its screen. So make sure you have that on. Export as, And then you can actually do it directly into the file now. So go to tree sugar, multiplayer missions, skins.vr. And then what I like to do is do flower hunter 00. So I can keep track of like how many additions I've done. So then we go back in. Then all you gotta do is switch those numbers back. So the file name was 2 zeros. And then that is 0. There we go. We just made it darker. And now we have tree sugar on top. So this is gonna be the same way with majority of vehicles. Some have more than others. I think the biggest one is the Tempest with 4 Photoshop files. So just go ahead and check that out. I believe it was here. Yep. So we have all these vehicles here, which is great. Tempest top. So yeah, we have 4 files here, 0, 1, 2, 3, and you're just gonna change those numbers in the settings. And yeah, I'm just gonna open it up just to see how it looks. So let's say I want to do a line of this, like I want to do the same exact thing but to the Tempest. So what you're gonna have to do is click on the texture, Control C, and then if you have any brightness or contrast on it and you want to keep the same thing, just hold shift and press left click on the brightness contrast, Control C, go over to the Tempest file, delete that texture here, and then press Control V, and then it brings it all up here. You might have to resize it because some vehicles are bigger than other vehicles. So after you do that, create clipping mask, and then basically have everything on there. We're just gonna make this a little bit bigger actually. There you go. And then you would do that for the Tempest 0, 1, 2, 3. I believe number 3 is the actual tarp, so you might want to make that a different color. Yeah, and I believe that's all you have to do for that. Yeah, so after you make the skin and all that, you just save it and then put it in the skin submission or whatever the hell it is by the time this video is done. Yeah, but for the next part, I'm gonna show you guys how to make your own template file in case like the file is not on there or the vehicle is not on there. Like if you want to make like an Orca or something else. In the future, I'll end up having all vehicles, but for now, I have majority of them. So yeah. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys how to make the templates for any vehicle that you guys want. So the first thing you need to do is download TextView, which I believe you can find on Bohemia like mods and stuff like that. But you're going to need TextView and PBO Manager. So I'll try to leave a link in the description so you guys can just go straight to the website and not have to deal with the hassle. So after you download those, what you're gonna have to do is figure out where the vehicle you want to make is. So you might have to go into editor, mess around, try to figure out, like it shows you what mod pack the vehicle is from. So if you're doing like a basic Arma vehicle, like let's say a Little Bird or something like that, it should be in the normal Arma files, which I'll show you. But if it's not, it's gonna be inside the mod pack. So you're gonna have to figure out what the mod pack is from just messing around, trying to find it in the editor. But to get to the mod pack that you want to get to the add-ons to, you're gonna have to search up Exile. Or everything is disabled. Okay. So I'll try to figure out what's happening with that, but I think I just gotta relaunch it, honestly. Alright, let's check it out. Yep, here we go. So let's say I search up for an Exile vehicle. I'll just type in Exile filter. Now you have the Exile mod. Click on folder, click on add-ons, and then you have all the Exile vehicles. Exile likes to do it in Exile and CUP likes to do it in a neat way where they list all the vehicles here. So if you're looking for any of the vehicles, you can just read them out and just see which one they are. But if you're doing a stock or a normal Arma vehicle, you'd go to PC, wherever you have Steam, Steam apps, common, Arma 3, and then add-ons. So now you have all these, which I'll show you how to find your specific vehicle that you want. But if you have a DLC vehicle that you're trying to do, like a Blackfish or something like that, you would have to go into expansion, and then you have all the Arma files here. So what you're gonna do is go to buystudio.com. Then go to community wiki. Then search up assets, Arma 3 assets. And now you have Blue 4, Op 4, Independent, and Civilian. So depending on which class that your vehicle is in, you're gonna have to click on those. I'm just gonna go for Independent. Just try to find a random vehicle. Let's say we'll go for let's do a transport van. Yeah. So when you find the vehicle that you want, or the specific vehicle that you're trying to look for, you're gonna see all the way to the right side. It's gonna be A3 Soft F Orange Van 02. So you're gonna look for probably around the first 3 words or phrases. So this one's gonna be Arma 3 Soft F. So we're gonna go to the Arma add-ons folder. So you can look for Soft F. So now we have Soft F right here. So once you install PBO Manager, you should be able to open this file. Double click on that. Then open it down. And then usually they have a couple of vehicles in there. It's not only one sometimes, but just pick the vehicle that you want. I don't believe it was the MRAP though. Screw it, let's just do the off-road. I don't feel like dealing with that. So click on off-road data. Now you're gonna have all these files. So you're gonna look for EXT. EXT is exterior. Exterior, glass, interior, proxy is probably the damage and stuff like that. Not quite sure. But you're gonna look for these. CO means color, so that's gonna be the base file that you want. So this is gonna be the normal one, off-road 01 exterior color. So double click on that, should open up in text view, and you're gonna have this entire file right here. So what you're gonna do is save as, export that, just call it color, and I'm gonna save it as a PNG. And make sure you change the save type to all files. Save that. Then close that. Bring that over to Photoshop. And now the next step is going to be the really annoying step, but it's necessary. So I'm going to go to this polygon lasso tool. This is the tool that I preferably like to do. But if you were to use like a magic wand or quick select tool, it doesn't really get, actually it didn't do that bad of a job this time, but it doesn't get it perfect, you know. So and sometimes to select things that you don't want to, and then it's just a pain in the ass. So select on this tool. I'm just gonna deselect everything, make a big box around the original file, and then we're gonna layer via copy. So now we have 2 layers. I like to take off the bottom layer so I can actually see the file, like see what I'm deleting. So now that I have that, we're gonna delete everything that we don't want to have a skin on. So that's gonna be the headlights, the trim, but like anything that's like obvious that you want skin on, you leave it in. So you just go in, basically mark or select each thing you don't want. Then, like, believe me, this takes a while. Like, for me, when I was doing all the vehicles, it was taking me around an hour per vehicle. But some vehicles, especially the CUP ones, won't take you too long, since it all depends on how complicated the texture is. So let's go ahead and do that. Press delete, and then you would have to do this for everything that you don't want. So I'm just gonna go ahead and draw on this just so you can see what I'm trying to look for. So you're gonna have to go for like this right here, this. Actually, sorry, that's the things you want to keep. You want to remove this, all these, the wheels, rims, the underside, all the stuff that you want to keep, you know. But everything else, you just leave it how you want, or leave it how it is. So after you do that, I'm just gonna skip this because I don't feel like making all this again. I'm just gonna go back to my file. We'll just do the off-road because I already did the off-road. And then delete these. So now that you do that, basically have this. Bring back the base mesh. And then you have your trim mesh, and then you have your base mesh. So now what you want to do is get the texture, or like the ambient shadow normal maps. So whenever you add a texture on top, it doesn't look too clean or looks kind of fake. So this is where I highly recommend GIMP at this point, because this is the only way I learned it. I learned it through GIMP on how to get the ambient shadows and stuff. So I'll actually load it up for now. So while that's loading, you're gonna see that there's also no HQ and SMDI. So you're gonna double click on those, and this is gonna be the normal map. You go ahead and save as. Then I usually do normal.png. Save that, open up the SMDI, then save as smdi.png. All files, save. So we got that. GIMP is open. Go ahead and drag and drop into GIMP. So now we have this file. We're gonna go to colors, desaturate, and then change it to Luma, and I click OK. Then I'm gonna go to color again, color to alpha, and then you're gonna bring down this bar to where you have enough detail, but it doesn't get too dark. It's more prominent in the normal map, but I'll show you in that. So I'd probably keep this one around here. And then you're gonna export as. I add an F to the end of it so I can know which one's good and which one's not. And then export. Export again. Alright, close this one out, discard changes. Then I'm gonna go ahead and grab the normal. I'm gonna do this exact same thing. So desaturate, Luma, okay, color to alpha. So you're gonna see the point where the entire text or the entire normal map gets darker, and you don't want that. It basically, like at this point right here, that basically darkens the entire thing, and you don't really want that. You just want to keep the normal maps. So I'd say right before it gets darker, so right there. All right, and then export it the same way. The F at the end of it, export, and export. And then that's gonna go to my desktop. What I like to do is add a folder just to be organized and change that to filters. And then go ahead and grab these two files that we just exported, go back into Photoshop, drop it in, and then put that inside the folder. Just be tidy, and we can just hide it if we need to. And then I'll show you the difference just now. So what I would like so if you're gonna make a template for yourself or for later or anything like that, just create a new layer, rename that to texture here or something like that. It's the same way I did it for the textures for all the vehicles. And then I'm just gonna select everything and then pick whatever color you want, click fill, foreground color, and then that's over. And then you're gonna create clipping mask. Clipping mask is gonna select onto all the trimmed mesh that you did earlier. So now that's on, this could also be your texture that you want, so you can make it the flower vehicle or whatever your heart desires. So now that's that done, you can actually see the difference in, well, some vehicles is more of a difference than other, but you can see the difference in the ambient shadows in normal maps. So if I were to move that, it'd just be crystal clear white. If we add this, you can actually see some like detail and stuff like that, some dirt, which adds a lot to the vehicle. But yeah, so you'll basically want to save this just for later or anything like that. If you need to make any more vehicles, you'll do the same method with all other vehicles. It's gonna be a pain in the butt for vehicles that have like multiple textures, like the Tempest. You gotta do this 4 times, like dissecting all the layers and stuff. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of my video. This was my first tutorial, so don't be harsh. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned, and yeah.